Right then, the Premier League returns after the international break. Doesn't get much bigger than Super Sunday at Anfield. Liverpool take on rivals Manchester United. Both managers have held their pre-match news conferences today. We'll join Vinny O'Connor at Liverpool's training ground in just a moment. But first to Daniel Kahn, who spoke to Reuben Amorim a little bit earlier on. Daniel, tell us a little bit about the situation between United hierarchy, Reuben Amorim, and, it seems like Amorim, he's publicly acknowledging the backing of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but does that increase the need for them to find consistency week in, week out?
Yeah, afternoon, David. I mean, that very much is the kind of story of Manchester United's season so far, is that lack of consistency. You look at the 2 weeks before the international break, such a disappointing performance and result away to Brentford. But then the complete opposite, a very convincing win at Old Trafford against Sunderland just before the international break. And during that break, we heard from the co-owner, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, talking about his support for his manager here at Manchester United, willing to give him 3 years to prove that he is an elite manager. That was Sir Jim Ratcliffe's words. And I think for Reuben Amorim, I mean, we've always reported pretty consistently that he has always retained the support of those at Manchester United in that leadership group of the likes of Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But I think to have the co-owner come out in no uncertain terms backing his manager, who has been under a bit of pressure at the start of this season, I think Reuben Amorim appreciates the sentiment, but he's also very realistic of his current situation as well.
He tell me all the time, sometimes with a message after games. But I know, and Jim knows that football is not like that. So the most important thing is the next game. You cannot control, even with owners, you cannot control the next day in football. So I know that, but it's really good to hear that. Also because of the noise, but he tells me, and Omar and Jason tell me that all the time. First of all, I can feel it. It's not just that thing that people talk, but I feel it in every day. And again, sometimes the pressure that I put on the team or on myself is so much bigger than them. I think it helps also our fans to understand that the leadership understands that it's going to take a while, but at the same moment, I don't like that, because we'll give a feeling that we have time to work things out. So I don't want that feeling here in our club. Again, the most important thing is the next game. It's good to feel the support, but we need to prove in football, and especially in big clubs, that in every weekend we are ready to win games.
I mean, David, Reuben Amorim there, very honest as ever in his news conference. But looking ahead to Super Sunday, Manchester United against Liverpool at Anfield. United haven't beat Liverpool at Anfield since 2016, but quite often records like that, statistics like that don't often matter in what is still one of the biggest games in the footballing calendar. And these two sides, of course, it feels like reversed roles in the last 20 years, with one club succeeding and maybe the other not being as consistent overall in those preceding years, while the other club is doing really well. And that is, again, something Reuben Amorim is very aware of, but really his message has been, this is just the next game and they need to win it.
Sometimes things change really fast, but if you see the history of both clubs, you can feel it that sometimes you have one club that is winning, the other club is having a bad moment. That happened with Liverpool when Manchester United was winning everything. And that happened with Manchester United when Liverpool was winning everything. So we just have to acknowledge that, to be really honest with the fans. But we can win any game. So if we think about just winning the next game, that is the most important thing. We can win the next game. If we are winning, if we are going to fight and to be at the same level of Liverpool in the future, that is the idea. I don't know how long it is going to take.
Dan, let's talk a little bit about Sene Lammens. I guess he's going to be a man who could well be very busy at Anfield. But admittedly, his debut in goal for United was an enjoyable one against Sunderland. What has Reuben Amorim had to say about Sene Lammens?
Yeah, absolutely, David. I mean, look, that performance, that result against Sunderland, I think there were a lot of positives to take from that at Old Trafford, not just the likes of Benjamin Sesko, Mason Mount getting their first goals at Old Trafford, but Senna Lomans making his debut in front of goal. And he just seemed, and this word goes around quite a lot, but a bit of an aura at Old Trafford. The fans really took to him immediately, coming out from corners to get the ball. He made some really impressive saves towards the end of the game as well. And with his distribution, I think a lot of fans and maybe us in the media were quite impressed with that as well. But making a second appearance away to Anfield is, of course, very, very different to being at home at Old Trafford. But I think United adopted a more direct approach against Sunderland. And I think we've seen that in this Liverpool team, that has maybe been a bit of a weakness. And that is another pro of perhaps going with someone like Lomans in goal on Sunday. But I think for Reuben Amorim, there were shouts at Old Trafford in that Sunderland win that, could he be the new Peter Schmeichel? I think Reuben Amorim just wants to temper that just a little bit.
Nothing is impossible. You have to prove during the week, but of course he did a great job. It is possible that he is going to start the game. The first impression in this club is really important. To maintain the level is even more important and really difficult. So he's not Schmeichel yet. He's a young guy with talent. He shows a lot of composure. And the fans liked it. But again, we need to prove that is in the past. We need to prove in the next game.
Just to bring you a bit of team news as well, David, Lisandro Martinez, he remains out. He's been out since February with an ACL injury, although Reuben Amorim did admit he is getting closer to returning to team training. Nouasat Mazraoui, he has missed quite a few games this season. He said he wasn't sure on his fitness and whether he's ready for Sunday or not. But the good news is some of the players we didn't see a training yesterday, Captain Bruno Fernandes, Ahmad Casemiro and Mateus Cunha, they are all fit and ready to go on Sunday. I guess the question for Reuben Amorim and Manchester United is, will we see a similar team to the one who has performed so well against likes of Chelsea, Sunderland, even the defeat against Arsenal in the first game of the season, or will it be the team we saw Brentford and away to Manchester City? Can't wait to find out.